This is the Lonesome Die. I'm Michael, and I'll be trying out the Solo Investigator's Handbook for Call of Cthulhu, written by Paul Bimler. So we're going to start this game off now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the date first. So I did the math on my character's age, and I roughly figured out, how old he was going to be, etc., etc. So I'm going to set it in the year 1926, and I'm going to roll the month of when this is going to take place. This is probably the only time you'll ever use a D12 in Call of Cthulhu. It is the 9, so it is September. All right, let's roll a D30 for the day. It is the 10th of September. Okay, and if you want to know what date it is, I've got this old book, the Great Old Ones Adventure. But in the back it has this really cool appendix. What it is you have a listing of calendars from 1610 to 2080. So you find the year that you want to figure out. And I'm sure there's online resources to do this, but I'm going to set this in 1926. So it says I have to look at the 6th calendar. So I look at the 6th calendar, and September 10th is a Friday. Okay? So that's what we have there. So I'm going to list this out. One of the things the game asks you to do is do a journal. So I'm going to list this up here. It is the journal, can't write today, Journal of Otto Causewell. All right, we're going to do our entries. The first, starting, it is, let's see, September the 10th, 1926, and it is a Friday. All right, so we're going to start there in a minute. So what this asks you to do first when you're playing this game, it asks you to determine the scenario. All right, so I'm going to go to the scenario section, and we're going to roll. So here goes. We got a 76. Okay, so 76 on this chart for the scenario is this. A disturbed war veteran claims that during his tour in Gallipoli, the Somme, insert some other World War I location here, he saw strange creatures on the opposite side, interacting with the enemy in some way. Okay. So I'm going to say the Somme. It was a pretty powerful, important battle, and that's probably very much connected to my own character in some way. Either he was, I'm not sure if he was in the battle. I can't remember if America was in at that time. But what I'm going to do is have maybe a veteran friend of my character, because he is also a veteran of World War I, the Great War, somehow relate this to him. So what I'm getting a vibe from this is I read The Reanimator several months back, and I remember that he was reanimating animals and then soldiers in World War I. The character Dexter Ward there, whatever. So we're going to use that as an idea. Now, I gotta say creatures, though. So I can use reanimates if I want to go ahead and do that. I'm going to show you a resource I came up with. I did end up typing up all of the creatures and Malleus Monstrorum, and I have them. Where are they? Charts. I have them here. I typed up all the deities and all the monsters in both volumes of that book. So let me roll that, and we'll just see what would have come up if we just do it randomly. I'll either go with one of these or I'll go with the reanimates. 57 is Nigangri. Okay? So I don't even know what that is. I don't know all of the variations of the Lovecraftian mythos monsters, but I can always pull out that book and find out. But I think I really do want to go with Reanimates. I think that's pretty cool. So let's look that up in Malleus Monstron, for the sake of the audience. We're going to be under R for Reanimates. It's alphabetized. Shoggoth. Reanimates. Alright, so here's just a little bit of information and a quote, possibly from one of the Lovecraft books, stories. At first, its outline was human, but venturing closer, I beheld a thing no longer human. What had once been a man was now a mockery of life, frantic and bereft of nuance. It was bestial. Wounds that had clearly ended the natural life of the thing were now festering sores. It howled in rage, and its eyes revealed the sorrow and pain of 1,000 torments. So Reanimates are essentially human zombies. So it's one of the lesser mythos beasts, but it's one of Herbert West's The Reanimator story. Okay, so yeah, I'll just keep that in mind and put a little sticky note here. If I need to turn to this, I can come back to it. Alright, so I'll set that to the side. So we've got Reanimates. Alright, nice. So where do I go next in this story? Well, how do I come by that information? Okay, so we have the info. Well, where did I receive this from? This quest or this info or this idea? So here is a table here. I got a 12. Should be note, scrap of information, or historical note somehow. So my character is a parapsychologist. If you watched the last video, he's a World War I veteran, parapsychologist. Can be a little bit of a con man or shyster sometimes, but he's mostly honest and quite heroic sometimes when it comes down to it, push comes to shove. He wants to believe, but he's not above fooling folks for money with occultism and all that, spiritism. Alright, so what would he be doing on this day? Well, I don't know. And how would he receive this information? Right now, I have to work with, we've got Reanimates, and we've got the information being received as a note, scrap, or something historical note, maybe in a book or something, who knows, or in a journal perhaps. Ooh, I like that one, maybe a journal. So consider that. But I'm kind of stuck at what he's doing today and how might he find this information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, use the verb chart in here, or ask for story direction. So I'm just going to first do the verb chart, see what comes up. There are close to 500 verbs here in this book. So I'm going to roll d10 and find out what's going on with this. Roll a d10 to figure out which hundreds. It's on 100 to 199. And I rolled a 95 on that. So it should be 195. Let's look at 195 and look at a verb here. Maybe it'll inspire us. End. The word end. Okay, it's one word. Maybe we'll do at least 3. 2. Be 79. So we have the word end and bother. Okay, this is starting to come together now. End and bother. I'll write them down before I forget. Like bothering the dead. One more, D10. 8, so this is going to be the 300s range, and it's going to be 365. Which is play. Okay. So that we could take that as, playing, like people playing, or we could take it as a noun instead. Like I know it's supposed to be a verb, but I'm starting to put this together and feel a vibe where maybe there's a play. It could be similar to or in vein of The King in Yellow. And we could have one of the actors or creatures being the undead, being a reanimate. Okay? Or this could be a theme within the play. And maybe this play is driving people to either consume flesh, or there's an actor that's that could be a reanimate, or messing around with the reanimator formula of Herbert West, or something like that. So, how does our character get involved? Well, I imagine he often engages at these socialite functions. He's invited to them, or he sometimes goes to them, especially the ones that have more or less suckers or people who are interested in spiritism, either the genuine pursuit of this paranormal or fools where he can get money from. Either way, he's happy to be around them. So I imagine he had spent the day reading and doing research, and then in the evening he's supposed to go on a date with a socialite, all right, to go maybe see this play. Okay. So let's see. So he starts, it's at the end of the day, work day, end of work day, date with socialite, okay, and we have to figure out who she is. What else? We got to figure out the name of the play. What else? Name of the play. We got to figure out the socialite. We got to figure out the mythos connection. And we'll probably start asking questions related to our fate chart for that. Okay, so here goes. So we are going to figure out the socialite first. Alright, so we're going to go to the NPC section. We've already decided she is likely a she, and she's a socialite because he's probably straight, and she's probably a woman that he's interested in, or at least interested in profiting from. Alright, so she's a socialite. Let's say, what is she like, though, character-wise? 48. She is talkative. That works, a talkative socialite. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to pull some GMA cards just to increase that. I want to know what her virtue is first. Her virtue, she's courageous. That's good. And I also want to know her vice. Treacherous. Courageous and treacherous. Okay. So, talkative, courageous, treacherous. Alright, so we're going to write a few things. Talkative. Primary. Courageous is her virtue. But she's also treacherous. You've got to be careful about this. Wonder if she is somehow connected with the play. Maybe she knows what's really going on and she's trying to bring him in on something. Or use him or abuse him in some way. Alright. What else do we want to know about her? Well, we have some sample NPCs here. So he was kind enough, Paul Bimler, the creator of this, put some NPCs together. We'll see if there's one in here that works for this. There's only a few in here, and they're the basic bad guys, more or less. These don't really work for what we're looking for. So I'm going to set that aside. If we have to figure out NPC stats, we will. Alright. What else? Let's do a name for her. So I could use those GMA cards, or I could use this 1920s random table book. So I'm just going to use the 1920s book. I just think this is kind of a neat one. Alright, so I'm going to go for American female names. Go for her first name. 39 would be Eunice. Okay, great old lady Dower. Eunice. Let's go for a last name. 97. Hollister. Eunice Hollister. Okay. All right. I have a feeling she's a few years older than him. Let's just make her in her 30s, like 34. All right. Let's do this name of the play. All right. This, I don't know what to really do here. I'm kind of stuck on what the name is going to be. I don't know what to use for this. I could use the verb chart here. So I guess I'm going to start with that. But I also could use those GMA cards I was telling you about. So I'm going to pull one from the standard deck and one from the horror deck of those GMA cards. So give me a second. I'll grab one of each. Standard deck. We've got Move, Artificial, and Time. And one from the horror deck, Create, Empowered, Journey. Artificial, empowered, and a journey. An artificial journey. Empowered. A vision of those long dead. I kind of like that. We'll take those in. So I imagine this is going to be a kind of an off-Broadway avant-garde kind of play. Dark and performed for a small audience of the rich and the eccentric. And we'll call this that, a vision of those long dead. And let's see, I'm going to ask a fake question now. Is this a satire, or is this going to be serious? So I'm going to ask, is this satire? Because oftentimes controversial material is conveyed through satire to make it more palatable. But they might be able to get away with it as just being avant-garde and just being okay with that. So I'm going to say it's possible. So it's just a raw 50-50 chance. So is this satire? Yes or no? 37. So it's under 50. So that's a yes, it is. It is satirical. Okay. But dark satire. It's probably going to be spoofing on Spiritism, and this is why she's bringing him here. Parody of Spiritism. However, there's something related to this, to those reanimates, to those undead, possibly even ghouls instead of undead. Because what happens if they took some lines from this, from the cultist discouls, you know, the old manuscript or something like that, and those lines. So I'm going to say, are there lines from a mythos tome in this? And I'm going to say that it's unlikely, just because I think that might be a different connection instead. So instead of 50%, we're now at 30% or less. So oh wait, I'm supposed to use this chart. So I made a mistake earlier. That should have been a maybe. So maybe it's dark satire. But I'm gonna, since I already wrote it down, I'm kind of happy with that result. I'm gonna go with that. But I'm gonna put a condition on that it's maybe satire, which is interesting because a lot of times satire pushes the envelope, and you're kind of wondering, are they being satirical or not? Like if you've ever seen Starship Troopers, it's very much like that. Is this satire, or is this actually promoting fascism? Tough. All right, so this is at -20. So we rolled a 6. So this is definitely not. So there's definitely no lines from mythos tomes in this. Okay. No lines in a mythos tome. So what else could be going on with this adventure then? This idea, this plot. Are there any characters or themes that are mythos based? So are there any characters and themes that are mythos based? So I'm going to say, again, this is not entirely likely. 7. Okay, definitely a no there. Okay, and one more time, are there any actors or actresses involved, or the director, or anybody involved in it that has some type of Lovecraftian or mythos connection? Again, minus 20%. 89, unlikely. This minus 20% would be 69. This would be a yes. So one of the actors, actresses, or the director himself is somehow connected to whatever's going on here with the reanimates of the supernatural horror. So that is where we're going to start this adventure. Mythos connection. We've got actor or director, producer, whatever. Somebody is somehow involved in this. Maybe even the writer. Alright, so I'm just going to do a D4 and just since I have 4 options here, and see which one is the likely culprit. It is the writer. Okay, so even though we've discovered that it didn't have lines from like some type of supernatural tome or on Cthulhu Mythos tome, the writer is incorporating some type of themes or message that could be suggestive or drive people insane in some kind of way, revealing some dark secret, either about the reanimates, about ghouls, about spiritism, something. Alright, so let's go ahead and figure out who the writer is. Let's see, let's come up with a name. Say, is he a guy? 1 to 3, girl. 4 to 6. He's a guy. Let's look up names. Male names. 83. His name is Philip. Surname, let's do it on the second table. Philip Cotter. Okay. Philip Cotter. All right, cool. So we've got 2 NPCs so far. We've got Eunice Hollister, socialite, an occult interest, and we've got the writer, Philip Cotter, who is sneaking in some type of Lovecraftian element into this play. Alright, so that is the beginning of the scenario. He gets off from work, from doing his research in his office, or perhaps, doing turntables or whatever. Not like a disc jockey, a DJ, but turntables as in those ghost tables, some type of haunting. Maybe he was away researching that or looking up something like that. So he is invited to this play by Eunice Hollister. Let's come up with what she's like her voice. So let's see. Probably classier and kind of snobby. Let's say she's attractive, and she's kind of used to getting her way because, courageous, she's brave, but a little treacherous, so she's got some kind of connection with Philip. Why would they want the parapsychologist here? Is this some type of cult connection, like they're trying to bring in members? So I'm going to ask, are they trying to convert our character, Otto? So I'm going to say this is possible. I don't think it's likely or unlikely. I think it's just possible. So it's a raw roll. So it's going to be a 65. So this is a yes. They are trying to convert him to some kind of cult or some type of belief. So there is some type of cult or project that they're doing here. Okay. So we've got our scenario. So I imagine there's something evocative or provocative in this play that will do this. So I'm going to say that's likely. Does the play have some type of alluring quality or something that challenges the sanity or the soul or makes somebody suggestive or plants those mythos ideas? I'm going to say it's likely. So this is going to be a roll at plus 20%. We got 69 plus 20 is 89. So this is a yes. There is some type of suggestive mythos scenes or theme. Okay. All right, so let's go out. So Otto is on his way to go pick up the socialite. He is driving his Chevrolet Roadster that's been washed and cleaned and well maintained. He is not a rich man, but he is able to come off with that image of being rich because he keeps himself fastidiously clean. He wears good suits. He keeps his car washed, and he tends to gather around these socialite festivities and such, and can talk fairly well. It helps that he can speak some German, so occasionally he'll throw in some phrases in German to make himself sound a bit more sophisticated and etc., especially if there are European guests. So he goes and I imagine he would meet her. Let's say she is a divorcee, which is rare at the time, but that would make this more interesting. So he is not picking her up, he is meeting her there. So I envisioned the story taking place in New England, in Lovecraft country, more or less, and I was going to have this probably take place in Arkham. But this might make more sense for them to go see this play in Boston. So the location is likely Boston. And this is at, like I said earlier, this is at off-Broadway kind of a production. This is for the rich and eccentric. It might even be I'm going to ask if this is going to be given at somebody's private home or a club or something, because this might not be for the public to see at all. So I'm going to go for a roll and say it's likely that this is not for the public. So 20%. Is this at a private club or something? Is this not being given at Broadway? So 36 plus 20 is a 56, so this is going to be a maybe. So maybe this is some type of club. So what else would it be if it wasn't a club? Well, we already established there could be a cult connection. Maybe this is at somebody's private home. If it's not at a club, where else could it be? Is this being given at somebody's private home? I'm going to say likely, plus 20%. So 70% plus 20 is a 90%. So this is, yes, it is being given at somebody's private home. So they're probably rich, so I probably don't have to look at Boston. Then I can keep it with Arkham like I wanted to. Not that they're too far from each other. Arkham and Boston probably take you about 45 minutes to drive there. No, an hour and a half in those times. Arkham's not real, of course, but it's where basically Wenham and Ipswich are in Massachusetts. Okay. So he is meeting her at this socialite's home. Whose home is this? Who is this person? Let's say likely a rich businessman. Is it a rich businessman? I'm going to say highly likely, plus 40. 21 plus 40 is 61. This is yes, barely. So you have a rich businessman. Is he interested in the occult? Is he somehow connected to this cult? So first off, is he interested in this cult? 30%. Is he interested in the occult? That's a no. I'm going to say it's possible. Is he into this cult? Is he a member or somehow related to the cult, though, involved in this? Yes or no? 28. So again, no. So I imagine he's being duped. Or he is putting on the show for another reason. So I'm going to ask the question, is maybe his wife the one who is really into this cult? If you've ever, let's see, is the wife the cult member, the one into the occult? So I'm going to say this is likely at plus 20%. So this should be a 42. So this is a maybe the wife's a member of the cult. So that's good. We have some ambiguity. So we've got a rich businessman and his wife. So the wife is probably friends with Eunice Hollister. Let's see, what is this woman's name? We're going to draw a card randomly from the horror deck. We've got Grant Clara. And Anacom, let's go with Clara. It's a woman's name. So, Clara. And let's go with what her husband's name is. Husband would be... Those are terrible names. Conrad and Clara. I like that. Clara and Conrad. All right, what would their last name be? Just roll in the chart here for last names. We got an 87. Last name on second chart, 87, is Matthews. All right, so Clara and Conrad Matthews. He is somehow a rich, influential businessman whose wife could possibly be dabbling into the occult, dabbling into maybe somehow involved in this cult. We don't know. Sorry, hit my camera. Definitely not a professional here. Okay, so what else are we doing with this? Clara and Conrad Matthews. Clara could be cult or occult interest. All right, maybe. All right, she is friends with Eunice. All right, let's figure out how many actors are in this play. I'm going to roll a d12. We never get to roll those in Cthulhu. 10. So there are 10 actors in the play. Okay. So what is this play about? Now, earlier we wrote down the word reanimates, note, scrap, historical, could be in a journal. So maybe there is a journal in the story. We have a note or something. So it could be note in someone's journal. Perhaps it is not a mythos tome, but it could be a Herbert West Reanimator, like a serum or a journal entry from it or something like it. So is this like a perhaps a journal entry in this? I'm going to say likely at plus 20. So it's definitely not. 02 is 22. This is a no. So there's no note or entry from the journal. Okay, so what else is going on then? The play is about end, bother, play, maybe bothering the dead. So if it's bothering the dead, maybe it's about a gravedigger bringing back, let's say, a lover. Okay, I like that where that's going. Okay, got a play, 10 actors. We've got gravedigger. We've got somebody who's lost love, wants to bring back the dead, which is a common thing. Okay, gravedigger, lost love, bring back the dead. Is the character a doctor? I'm going to say highly likely, 40%. Yeah, definitely. Okay, So there is a doctor. Does he have gravedigger assistance? I'm going to say highly likely, plus 40%. Yeah, that's 38 plus 40. He's 78. So yeah, he's got gravedigger assistant. He's a doctor. He's got his lost love. Those are 3 characters. We have probably experimental characters, right? The bodies. Now, does he go as far to maybe kill people to preserve the dead, just like in Herbert West? I'm going to say likely, plus 20. So this is definitely a 99 plus 20. He definitely has victims. So this is where their story is going. So Otto arrives at this rich mansion, his roadster. There are a couple dozen cars there. He gets out of his vehicle and goes up with the guests. The guests are in their fine clothes, dresses in suits. There are no workmen or common people here. And he goes and sees Eunice Hollister. And he says, "Hello, Eunice." And Eunice responds with her talkative, chatty dialogue about the weather and about seeing this play, and that she knows the writer herself. And she refers to him as Philip. And Philip did this, and Philip wrote that, and Philip said he would put me in as one of his characters in this play this time. So she's going on and telling him about Philip, and she's hoping that her vanity basically will be covered in the play, that she'll be somehow depicted in a positive way in the play. She takes him by the arm and she leads him to the crowd and introduces him to Philip. Philip has some thick glasses and is short, and he's not ugly, he's just short and has thick glasses. And he introduced himself, so he's a little bit bookish and quiet. I'm going to roll to see if he's kind of off-putting, if there's some kind of awkwardness to him. I'm going to say likely, because he wrote this play and it's just kind of dark and moody and weird and eccentric and would not be for public consumption. So 20 plus 20 is a 40%. This is a maybe. Maybe he's awkward. Maybe he's dark. Okay. Okay. So they go in and they're talking with various people for a while. And this is the part of Solo I don't understand. When I've watched Me, Myself, and Die, he does the character dialogue. He's a professional actor, voice actor at least, and he can switch voices and do dialogue and stuff. I'm not that good at improv, so I'm just not sure if I should just instead narrate or do dialogue. So if you want to leave some comments for me, I'll try a little bit of both, but it'll probably be heavier towards the narration. All right. So they spend an hour watching this play. It's a shorter play. Let's say how many acts does it have? I'll roll a d6 and it'll be, we'll re-roll the 6. 5. It's a 5-act play. So they're very short acts. It's only about an hour in length. Okay. Let's say does this kind of have a story of Herbert West's Reanimator, of bringing back the dead? Let's see. Does it follow the plot of Reanimator? There we go. That's the question. Does it follow that plot? Yes or no? I'm going to say likely, so plus 20%. So this is 13%. Plus 20 is a 33. So this is a no. It does not follow the plot of Reanimator. So what would it be then? If there's some type of Reanimator or dead and it's bringing back the dead, where would the story go exactly? Where would the story go if it wasn't that? Guess we can pull out some verbs. All right, verb chart. Flipping over to that. D10 for the number. It is going to be in the 300s, and it's going to be 395. 395. Ransack. Okay. 5 is 200s. 218. Ransack Escort. Actually, ransack escort, and do one more verb for the sake of rounding this out. 9. The 400s. 476. Ransack, escort, and unload. All right, so unloading. We've got ransack, escort, unload. All right. If it's not following that plot, then what would it be? All right, so ransack. So the first scene depicts the doctor figure ransacking a library instead, or a journal. Maybe he has found some type of material or information, either occult tomes or vile scientific experiments that were not meant for publication. So he's ransacking that. That's what the first scene depicts. The next few scenes show him unloading corpses from basically a cart and secret in the backwoods where he's conducting his experiments. He is able to bring the dead back, and he is constantly being escorted, though, by perhaps spirits. I don't like where this part is going. It's not interesting. I think I messed up when I asked the question, does this relay the story of Reanimator, and I said no when I rolled for no, because it would have been easier if it did. I'm having a hard time here. So ransack, escort, unload. I'm sure it shows some scenes where he is unloading the dead, or unloading a cart or something like that, though. So I'm going to see how graphic is that. Is this extremely graphic? Are there nudity and blood? I'm going to say likely. Plus 20. So this is a 59. This is a maybe. Okay. All right. So let's see. Is it perhaps... I'm going to say likely again. Is it grotesque? Is it turning the stomach? Is it making anybody uncomfortable in their seats? I'm going to say highly likely, plus 40. So yeah, this is 124 at this point. So yeah, there are some people being queasy and getting up. One person ran out the door and started crying a little bit, and somebody was gagging, and there are several people looking away. Okay, so what is causing them to look away? So I'm going to have this escort. I think I will go with the spirits thing. He has killed some of his victims that he's trying to, the doctor character, trying to resurrect. And these characters, these victims, their spirits, are following him around. So even though he's conducting his experiments and living his daily life, trying to bring back his lost love, he's being followed by these spirits, these creatures, these presences. None of the other characters around him that he's interacting can see him. He doesn't see them either until he does. Okay, and it's at this point where there's like a climactic scene where he is being surrounded by them, and they start to reach out to him and like pull him apart, or bring him back for revenge for bringing up the dead. And there is some darkly satirical scenes where he goes to a spiritist and tries to, I guess, where he's trying to get away from them, and he's trying to get help from the spiritist, and there's kind of a mockery of that, and it's being silly. So does this cause sand loss for anybody in the audience? I'm going to say likely, plus 20%. So this is at 14 plus 20 is likely would be 34. So this is a no, barely. It's a barely no. Barely a no. So no sand loss there. But people are disturbed. People are uncomfortable. So I'm gonna ask now: is there some type of underlying message behind this? Where is there a cult depicted, or is there some type of suggestion on talking to the dead that these people in the audience could try, or this reanimation, or something with ghouls? So is there some type of suggestion like that? I'm going to ask, and I'm going to say likely, plus 20. So this is an 84. That's a yes. So there is some type of suggestion that leaves people to look after the dead, or to go talk to the dead. So they are somehow influenced to want to do that. All right. After the play is over, they go out and they smoke, and there are some people who are pale and are disturbed and disgusted. Eunice saw herself as the dead lover, and she is talking about how wonderful it was to see her being able to inspire the writer and inspire such devotion in the doctor character. And she goes and introduces she introduces Otto to the actors and actresses and such. Okay, with that, let's see what else is going on from here, because the story's going places, but it's at the after party where things are probably going to get interesting. All right. So what would happen next? Well, let's use the game more, because I'm at a stopping point, because I'm trying to run the game without the game, and I need to do that. So I'm going to go for story direction. Okay? That's the tool I need to use, because I don't know where to take this at this point. So what happens next? All right, so the story direction. Okay? I'm going to roll a d20. Oh, not a d20. A d100. 18%. So this is downtime in some way. And then I have to roll to see, is his downtime left undisturbed or not. He got a 65, so his downtime is left undisturbed. Okay. And what else? So I imagine they all talk and they drink and they smoke and etc., etc. I'm going to ask to see if there's anything eventful happen. Does anything eventful happen in the after party? So I'm going to roll, and I'm going to say it's possible. So it's just a raw roll. 5% no. So nothing eventful happens at the after party. So he goes home, he sleeps it off, he says goodnight to Eunice, and that's what happens there. Now, what happens next then? Now, right now, the mythos points still are at 0. Nothing has happened with mythos, okay? There's some suggestion in that play. So, let me see. All right, so I'm going to add, I should have added 1 for the sake of the play being unsettling, but it would have been reduced by 1 because of the downtime. So I'm just going to leave it alone for now. All right, so the next day he wakes up. It's Saturday. What are his plans? What happens next? So I'm looking for story. So it says dice roll. 81 through 100 is dice roll. So I'm going to look at the dice roll table and see what happens. 30. So you hear something. So now I'm going to go to the auditory effects. So let's go to the auditory. What does he hear? 85. So knocking. Okay. Where is that knocking coming from? 89. It's from within an object. Okay, well that's odd. That is unsettling, so I will raise up maybe if he can't figure it out where it's coming from. He looks around his house. It's September, so he does not need the heat on yet. But where the knocking? So it's not coming from a heater. Where might the knocking come from? If it's not the door, it's coming from within an object, it says. Within an object. What other knocking could be? I'm going to ask if this is supernatural. I'm going to say unlikely, minus 20%. So this is 31, minus 20 is an 11. This is, no. It's not something supernatural. So what could it be then? Is it a neighbor? But the neighbor would knock on the door. What would be knocking inside? He shrugs it off. He can't figure out what's going on, so he ignores it. But it is a little unsettling. So he will up the mythos one point. But I think it's not enough to trigger any kind of sand roll. I think that would be silly. So just for a knock, he can't figure out where it's coming from. All right. So what happens next then? Story development. 57. And you do add the mythos points to that, by the way. So 57 is discovery. So it would really be a 58. So he's got a roll on the discovery table. So this would be 29. He's discovering some kind of clue or something. So it says, if you make a luck roll, someone slips you or leaves you a note pointing you in the right direction. So he's got to make a luck roll. His luck sheet, his luck score, let me get the character sheet, is a 45%. He gets an 84, so he does not get the note. All right. So this is a bit frustrating. I've gone to the story direction for a bit, and he doesn't notice the note. So maybe somebody tucks in a note under his door, and he just hasn't come by it. He's just totally oblivious to it. Maybe he's just busy. Maybe he'll come by it later. I'm going to ask the fake question then. Does he come by the note later, in the afternoon or something? So I'm going to say likely, plus 20%. (61) plus 20 is an 81. This is a yes. So likely he'll come by it later. It's just hours go by. So is the note pressing? Is it really important that he got it sooner? I'm going to say possible. An 8. So no, it's not pressing. Okay, so he's got a note. So what is the nature of the note? What's written on it? Who would send this to him? So let's see what is the nature of the note. So we'll do the verbs chart for that. We'll do a different color for the hundreds range. 8. So this would be in the 300s, and it would be 318. So our verb is 318. 318 is lament. Okay. 0 and 94, so this would just be 94. Charm, lament and charm. Okay, and one more. 6 would be the 200s, 265. 265 is give. Lament. So we have a note. We've got lament, give, and what was the other one? That's why I should write it down immediately. My brain just lost it. Lament, give, and what was the other one? I guess I have to roll another one. I just forgot. All right, 0 and 66. So that would be the 400s, 466. Torture. Oh, that's nice. I'll go with that better. Lament, give, and torture. All right. So this letter, this note, it could be something where somebody wants something from him. They want him to give something. All right, so let's go with that first. And maybe those other things could be threats. Okay? So I'm going to ask, does somebody want him to give them something? Likely, plus 20%. So this would be plus 20. This would be 41. So this is a maybe. Somebody wants to give him something. Okay? Are they threatening him with torture if he doesn't give this up? I'm going to say it's possible. No. They're not threatening him with torture. So why is torture here then? Why is lament there? Is this written from somebody who is lamenting about something? 24, no. Will he lament something if he doesn't act in some certain kind of way? I'm going to say likely plus 20. That would be a 54 then. So that is maybe he'll lament something. Maybe he has to give something to somebody. It's a vague message. So what kind of vague message would he receive? This is still not good enough. So I'm going to flip over a card and look for either some kind of catalyst. Okay? Lie detector, truth serum, polygraph machine. No. Secret orders unsealed. No. Do another one. Buried alive. Okay. That's a bit odd. That one should work though. Buried alive. Buried alive. Buried alive. Now, I guess... Does the letter talk about him being buried alive? We said torture was a no. So I'm going to say it's possible. That's a maybe. That's not a good question. Maybe on my fault. That's probably my fault there. All right. So buried alive. Buried alive. What about being buried alive? So what would he do then? Now, maybe somebody's threatening, or maybe... There we go. Let's talk about this. Has Eunice Hollister gotten herself in too deep into this cult? And she's the one who's the target of being buried alive. So let's do plus 20% likely. So 91. Yes. Okay. So there is a threat of torture against Eunice. And unless he gives them something, he is going to be lamenting this, that they're going to bury Eunice alive. All right, so maybe after the after party, maybe Eunice saw something she shouldn't have, or maybe they tried to initiate her into something and she saw something. So I'm going to say, did she see something supernatural? And we're going to make this at plus 20%. So likely. So this is 56. This is an A 76. This is, yes, she saw something supernatural. Did she see a reanimated undead or the serum put to practice? I'm going to say likely, plus 20%. 78. This would be 98. Yes. So she saw something. And she suddenly decided she no longer wanted to participate. She no longer wanted to be part of this cult. So what on earth would Otto have that the cult would want? What thing or object would they want? Or something intangible from him? Do they want his services? Do they want him to work as a medium? Do they want him to join or they'll kill her? Do they want... that was a possibility. They wanted to convert him, yes. So... what else could they want? They want him to go there. They want... That's what he needs to give. He needs to give them something. Not money. He's not rich. He could give him his life, but that would hardly be a worthwhile trade for some girl he's kind of like maybe dating, but it's not too serious. What else? Okay, so let's see. I'm going to ask the question, does Otto have some type of either mythos object that maybe he doesn't even realize? Maybe he has something that the cult caught wind of. There's some object that they want. That's a yes. 82. So he's got some kind of object. What kind of object does he have that they would want? So I'm at a loss here. I'm going to go for my Cthulhu book, my story, and I'm going to look for something in here. So I'm going to roll a d10 to figure out which hundreds I'm going to start at. So just the first 100 pages or so. Then I'm going to roll which page? 67. I'm just going to look at page 67 and see if there's something that leaps out at me. The White Ship. What's about this story? Alright, so which paragraph? 1, 2, 3. Alright, which paragraph? The second one. It was against the full moon one night in the immemorial year of Tharp that I saw outlined the beckoning form of the celestial bird, and felt stirrings of unrest. Celestial bird. Stirrings of unrest. Then I spoke with the bearded man, and told him of my new yearning to depart for remote Cathuria, which no man hath seen, but which all believe to lie beyond the basalt pillars of the west. It is the land of hope, and in it shine the perfect ideals of all that we know elsewhere, or at least to men relate. But the bearded man said to me, Beware of those perilous seas, wherein men say Cathuria lies. In Sonanail there is no pain nor death, but who can tell what lies beyond the basalt pillars of the west? Nathalis, at the next full moon, I boarded the White Ship. Maybe this is nevertheless? Yeah, it's a typo. And with the reluctant bearded man left the happy harbor for untraveled seas. Okay, so we've got a celestial bird. So I'm wondering if maybe he has some type of object in his home that has a depiction of a celestial bird. Maybe depicted flying above some type of sea or a white ship. Okay, it could be a ship, a model of a boat, of a white ship, or a painting of a white ship. Okay, with a celestial bird as its crest or for its flag. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go that in his home, he has a painting of a white ship. And on it is the crest or the flag for the banners for the boat is some type of celestial bird. And it's flying over a sea, and it's causing them to feel stirrings of unrest. All right. So we'll go with that. So why would they want this? So I'm going to think there's got to be a map on this or something on the back of it that he never noticed. Is there's something important on the back of this painting? Likely, plus 20. Yes, there is. Is it related to this cult? 50%. Likely, plus likely. No, just let's go with raw 50%. So this is possible. So this is a maybe it's related to the cult. Is there a mythos spell on it, on the back of this? Or some type of incantation or rite or cryptic warning? Let's go with mythos spell. Is there one? Yes or no? 48%. This is a maybe. So there's some type of rite or incantation or warning or some information about something here. What's the deal with this painting? Who might have owned this then? Who's related to this? How did our character Otto get this? This seems a bit random. So where did he get this? Did Otto get this recently, yes or no? Possible. Yes, he got it recently. Okay, so he got it recently. Possible. Did he get it from Eunice? I'm going to say likely, plus 20%. A 43. 23 plus 20 is likely is 43. This is a maybe he got it from Eunice. Why would this be a maybe from Eunice? Because maybe this wasn't Eunice's, or maybe Eunice shouldn't have given it to him. Okay, so if Eunice shouldn't have given it to him, how did he get it? Whose is it? Is it the cult's? Is it something that she was messing with? And the cult, this is why they wanted to convert her and have her bring him? Okay, we'll go with that. So, let's see then. So the note is basically you need to bring this painting that she gave you. No. Bring the painting of celestial bird. Banner over white shit. Or Eunice will be buried alive. Alright, now where are they supposed to be meeting? Let's go to location in our book. Location. Where is he supposed to meet them? Uh, 98. Some type of excluded zone. Okay. 98. Excluded zone. That's a bit odd. What could be an excluded zone? Maybe a family crypt? A private mausoleum? Is it? That'd be pretty exclusive and connect all this together. I'm going to say likely. Is it a private mausoleum? Plus 20. 52 would make it a 72. So, yeah, he's got to go meet them at a mausoleum tonight before midnight with the painting. Otherwise, they're going to bury Eunice alive. All right, the story's going places now. Now we know what could happen. So we're going to leave it at there. I've got some stuff to do today, but we're leaving it at somewhat of a cliffhanger that he needs to show up with this object. Otherwise, she's going to be buried alive. A nice cliffhanger. All right, thanks. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll pick it up when I can. Might be a little while.